From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Friday night. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, today was our last chance of any serious rainfall for a while. And for the most part, Mother Nature stepped up with a downpour, but also came down a little harder for some. But there is some good news for those heading out to Relay for Life tonight right here in Billings. Ed McIntosh is tracking those storms in the Q2 Weather Center. Ed, eastern Montana is still in the midst of those storms, but once they pass, it should be pretty pleasant.
That's right. The evening overall is going to shape up pretty nice. Now here's this little loop that we set up for right around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon as that storm system pushed through the Billings area and around Laurel as well. You can also see another cell around the Roberts Red Lodge area that brought down some heavier rain. So it was really in these little clusters that we saw the heavier rain, and also some reports of hail around Laurel, some of the larger hail, about a ½ inch, and then Molt, and then a little bit to our north as well along the northern edge of Yellowstone County, up to about marble-sized hail. Here's how it looked in Laurel earlier this afternoon. Thanks, Kathy Stedman, for giving us this video. You can see the strong winds, some of that hail in the mix, along with the heavy rain. But will it last much longer into the weekend? We'll let you know in a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Ed. Well, in one way or another, cancer touches all of us. And tonight, a year of hard work culminates out at the West High Track. Tonight, we celebrate survivors and their caregivers and honor those we've lost to the devastating disease. Q2's David J. is live out at the Relay for Life of Yellowstone County with more on tonight's event. David.
Well, Jeanelle, quite different out here than in previous years. Not much out there, as you can see. Usually you'd have all kinds of tents set up here with all the families and friends of cancer patients and so forth. The only thing out here really this year is the flower tent that the survivors will get before they go out there on the lap. But they did get it all put together for here, and most of the activity will take place there on 24th Street West. Joining us right now is Wendy Eubank, who is a cancer survivor. She has a melanoma that she's battling. And Wendy, just first of all, this event, they managed to put it on. How important is it to be out here this year?
It's extremely important to know that the community has our support and that we find just a community involvement, and it's just nice to have that support.
What are you looking forward to the most out here?
This will be my first year doing the Survivor Lap for myself as a survivor. I've done the Survivor Lap with my dad for prostate cancer, but last year we didn't do a Survivor Lap, and that would have been my first relay.
What does it mean for survivors or people that are battling cancer to be out here with each other?
Like I said, the support is amazing, because a lot of times during our treatment we don't feel that support. We feel like we're all alone and by ourselves, and now when we can talk to other survivors, knowing that we're all going through the same thing. And
so last year they had a kind of an adjusted way. They still managed to put it on. How important was it to have that? It was good. We went and stood out and watched all the cars go up and down 24th. But it just wasn't the same. And you are doing a lot of working out and staying strong that way. How do you manage mentally to stay strong through all this? Working out at the gym 5 to 6 days a week have really helped me keep my mental strength, keep this to where it doesn't feel real some days. And now with the Survivor Lap, it kind of comes back home and makes it real. So looking forward to that Survivor Lap though this year. Yes, it is very important. Okay, great. Thank you, Wendy. That is Wendy Eubank. She's a cancer survivor out here at Relay for Life. She'll be out there in a little while. About 6 o'clock is when that gets going for that Survivor Lap, and a whole bunch of other events set up as well. Janelle, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, David. Another amazing night planned out there. That's Q2's David J. out at the West High Track. And there is some great plans going on tonight. It all kicks off in just minutes from now. The Survivors Lap happens at 6, and you're encouraged to gather along the outside of the track to cheer them on. Opening ceremonies will follow along with an announcement of the teams. And at 9 o'clock, the Luminaria and caregiver ceremony takes place. The closing ceremony will happen at 10:30. The final fundraising amount will be made public on radio station Planet 106.7, followed by fireworks at 10:45. And of course, everyone is encouraged to decorate their vehicle for the cruise down 24th and show their support. Well, today's rain missed the fire lines over in Musselshell County, but crews were already ahead of the flames that forced voluntary evacuations of nearly 250 homes last night. As of news time, some good news to report on the Western and Peterson fires. The evacuations were lifted late last night as firefighters worked through the night to secure the perimeter on the Western fire. Now, those crews continue to reinforce the dozer lines today. At a last check, that fire is 40% contained. And it's a similar story on the Peterson fire. That fire is burning in rougher terrain, so air resources are assisting. A Type 2 incident management team will monitor both fires through the weekend. Well, day 5 in the search for a missing hiker west of Red Lodge again leaves rescue crews empty-handed. 23-year-old TATUM MORELL has not been heard from for over a week. Late last night, a National Guard helicopter joined the search. Now, that team can help provide high-resolution images of the area to help searchers on the ground. The Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office pulled its helicopter from the search today to give that team a break. Now, MORELL was last heard from on July 1st after she sent her mom a message from her campsite. She was due back in Bozeman on Monday. Late Monday night, a search team found her campsite intact 8 miles in from the West Fork trailhead. Well, search for another missing hiker in Grand Teton National Park has been scaled back. Kian McLaughlin was last seen on June 8th. Park staff continues to monitor the backcountry, and all backcountry hikers are shown a missing person poster of McLaughlin.
It's important to know that we do not stop searching until we locate an individual, like Kian, for instance. But as a search goes on, we sort of have to balance the risk to searchers with the chances of finding that missing person.
And crews work in a limited but continuous mode, following up on clues and asking park visitors to also keep an eye out. Well, a state judge says it's okay for members of a legislative committee to hold a session closed to the public, as long as they do not have a majority of members present. Montana media organizations filed suit earlier this year saying the sessions violated the state's open meetings law. They sued State Republican Representative Barry Usher, who chairs the House Judiciary Committee. Usher had recessed a committee meeting in January, and GOP members then met in a closed session to discuss anti-abortion bills. Now, before returning to vote on them. However, not all Republican members attended the closed meeting, so Usher argued it wasn't a quorum and therefore wasn't an official meeting. State District Judge Mike Meehan agreed and dismissed the suit. The practice of holding closed Republican caucus meetings of committees before key votes is a common practice by Republicans in the Montana House. Well, thanks to a grant from the U.S. Department of Education and some guidance from the Montana Board of Regents and federal government, some Billings College students are headed back overseas for study abroad programs this fall semester. The executive director of international studies at MSU Billings says starting in September, students will go back to Japan, Korea, Germany, France, and England for a full semester. Short-term 3-week programs will start then in the spring.
Well, I think the past year has been very difficult for everyone in all businesses, for all of us personally as individuals. And it's, you can't replace that face-to-face communication. For our students, working in diverse, multi-ethnic, multilingual environments is really a skill that you can't replace. And it's hard to get that in Billings. Frankly, we don't have a lot of people from different world areas here in Billings, so traveling abroad, studying abroad just gives our students an amazing experience that works really well for their career goals and their academic goals, what they're doing here.
And Foster says many other schools, including MSU Bozeman and the University of Montana, will also allow students again to study abroad. Well, up next on tonight's MTN 530 News right here on Q2, a new Star Wars art gallery has landed in the Magic City. Enjoy drawings and prints that are out of this world. Plus, it's off to the races to catch up with a Billings native whose family is going for the gold.